Welcome to the podcast about venture capital, where investors and founders alike can learn how VCs make decisions and reach conviction. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back for another edition of Investor Stories. On this special segment, the experts describe the most important lesson that they've learned and how that has changed the way they invest. This is the special segment called Lessons Learned.
On today's special segment, we have Neha Khera of 2048 Ventures. Neha, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
Yes, absolutely. I think I have had the luxury of being an investor for long enough where I have had a feedback loop, which means my 10 years have come and gone, and I now can look back at early investments that I made in my career and really be able to dissect what went well and what didn't go well. Key learnings from this is that all of the startups that I've invested in that have gone on to become unicorn companies were startups that struggled to raise capital in their initial days. And the reason they struggled to raise capital in their initial days is because they weren't necessarily the most polished when it came to telling the right story and or knowing how to play the fundraising game, quote unquote. But what they were good at is they were obsessed with the problem they were solving, and they had incredible founder market fit. So you won't see me chasing deals anymore where there is a sense of FOMO coming around the company because the founders are exceptional fundraisers. You will see me chasing deals where the founders are exceptional operators and product builders.
On today's special segment, we have Brian O'Malley of Forerunner. Brian, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast on this one, but I'll pick one because it was kind of embarrassing at the time, and again, not necessarily a proud moment, but when I was kind of first coming up, I would say when I was first sort of leading my own checks was probably my most arrogant phase in venture because I thought I had all the answers. And there's been a few humbling moments since then. But I was working with a business where the two founders were not technical. I personally had a technical background, and they needed to get a new commerce site up. And everyone they talked to that was like bidding it out was saying, hey, this is going to be like a couple $100,000, and this is going to take like 6 months. And what they were looking to build was relatively simple and straightforward. And I remember the investors that I had in the startups I worked at, they were good people, but were pretty hands-off along the way. And I just kind of like felt like this burden of like, hey, we have all these investors. They don't really do anything. I'm going to grab one of my buddies who's a programmer, and like, we're just going to bang this out over a couple weekends, and like, we'll just build this site for them. And like, I'm sitting there like really patting myself on the back for being incredibly helpful. But it was like the worst move that I could have done. They had no ownership. They had no interest in me getting involved building it. I wasn't helping them build any of the muscles that were necessary for them to continue to operate the business over time. And it was a little bit more of like, I'm not going to say like an ego move, but like I thought I was being incredibly helpful, but I wasn't. I was just causing drama. And so I think one of the big lessons out of that is that like in venture, you need to clearly understand that your job is on the sidelines. Like if you're actually doing something that's important for the company directly, that means something is fundamentally broken and you're not doing your job correctly. So I know a lot of founders really like investors that have operating backgrounds, but it can be hard for a lot of really good operators to not try to get their hands dirty, not try to dive in, but instead help the company learn these lessons on their own and build these muscles on their own. Sometimes that means that they need to try and fail and do a few things that don't work out before getting to the right answer. And so that's something that I'm still working on these days. I typically like to have the answers versus ask the right questions, but I'm getting better at it with time. And ultimately, I think that's the right way to operate as an investor, is to be on the sidelines versus trying to tangibly do too much for the company itself.
That's a really good one, and not one that I've heard before in 8 years of doing this. On today's special segment, we have Samara Mejia Hernandez of Chingona Ventures. Samara, can you tell us a story highlighting a critical lesson that has changed the way you invest?
Yeah, we're in this business to make money, and getting into venture capital, the reason why I got into especially early stages, I liked working with the people. I liked working with these incredible human beings that were going to change the world, and everybody was telling them that they weren't, but they somehow found something in them to change it. And for me, I have seen a lot of bad behavior, especially when money is involved. When you can become greedy, you can become really aggressive. If your portfolio isn't doing well, you can become even more aggressive towards people and towards founders. And there's a lot of bad habits that could take hold. And for me, I had seen that firsthand in the founders that I had backed with their stories that they told me with other investors. I had seen it with just in the community. And I did not want to be that. I know I'm not going to be everyone's favorite person or the best investor, value add, whatever you want to call it. But I knew that to the extent that I could, not try to be someone that tried to screw over investors, tried to give them insane terms, try to take advantage of them. I think, we can all make money and we're in the business to make money, but I want to make sure that we all understand that these are humans. As a VC, I am a human being. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, right? These founders are the same thing. And so when we can understand that, we can create businesses and we can all make money. And part of what my whole point of being is to build wealth in a very different way for the founders that I back, for us in the fund, and for my LPs that invest with us. And it's just a beautiful thing when you as an investor can build a relationship with a founder and have them trust you with some of the most important things in their lives, like starting their business, like their family, and be able to be along the ride with them. And because you have that relationship, be able to have the very, very tough conversations that need to happen. But, first and foremost, they're human beings, and something that I really take to heart. And especially during the last few years with a lot of mental health issues, a lot of things happening in our society and all sorts of rights being questioned. For me, it's first and foremost important to understand that piece of it from a founder's perspective, and then, hopefully be able to have the opportunity to build together and be a small part of what they're doing to change the world.
Well put. That will conclude this installment of Investor Stories. If you're enjoying the program and would like to see it continue, take a moment and leave a 5-star review in iTunes. Also, if you'd like updates on new content from TFR, as well as the top 10 VC articles every week, go to fullratchet.net and sign up for the newsletter. Okay, that will wrap things up for today. Until next time, over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for joining me.